Hi everyone, welcome to Food for Thought, delivered by Redhotblue. Now this morning we've got a very unique individual joining us, Shane Gibbs, owner of Hairway Mackay, here with us. I'm very fortunate, I've known Shane for a long time, but he's also my hairdresser, so I hope you're approved this morning.
Yeah.
So welcome Shane, and thank you
much,
for joining us. Now you've been hairdressing for 30 years, is that right?
Yes, 30 years. I actually first started hairdressing when I was pretty much just turning 14, so I was actually 13.
Wow.
When I started in a salon for the first time, and then was literally full-time hairdressing by the time I turned 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, answer a question for me. Obviously, hairdressing isn't the most cliche career that a young man goes into.
That's right.
Was that something you always aspired to do as a young boy, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I started wanting to be a hairdresser from about grade 5, so
Wow.
very young. Just happened to go to a male hairdresser and thought, wow, that's unique, it's different. I loved art, so I loved the artistic side of it.
Okay.
And it just caught my eye. And like my mum always says, I never veered from that. That was what I wanted to be all my life and what I drove for.
Yeah. And so do you have siblings?
Yes, I have my brother. He's Paul. He's a chef.
So were they your guinea pigs?
Yeah, my whole family, my full family and friends. Yes, got all sorts of interesting.
And before you were a hairdresser, were you practicing and doing all sorts of things?
Because I started so young, I was in a salon at a stage doing hair from 13.
So you had the real life guinea pigs.
Yeah. I learned it straight up, so I didn't really sort of partake in it beforehand that much.
And I would imagine, like obviously 30 years ago, at that age, that was probably like you've been one of very few male hairdressers that decided to pursue that.
When I started hairdressing, I was in Victoria, and in Victoria there was a lot more male hairdressers at that time. So the salon I worked in, there was 3 guys and 2 girls,
which
when I moved to Queensland was very rare.
Yes.
There had ever been a few male hairdressers in Mackay. So it was a different world back then in North Queensland. So it was quite hard when you first moved here
to be accepted.
And even having comments from clients like, will he be able to do my shampoo even the same as one of the girls can?
Really?
'Cause he's male, yeah.
That's incredible. So wow, what a journey to have gone on. And so you celebrate having Hairway for 20 years?
20 years at the end of this year. Oh.
That's exciting.
It is pretty amazing. It doesn't feel that long. I think because I do so many different aspects of hairdressing and my life's so busy that I don't even feel like it just feels like a few years to me.
Yeah. Because you love what you do.
I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, totally love what I do.
And during that time, you've entered numerous awards. I've seen the trophies. And all sorts of crazy live hair shows and things on stage. So tell us about that. Is that something that, really helps to cement the credibility of what you're doing?
For me, it was about just wanting to be better, wanting to be the best. That was always my thing, was I wanted to be the best. And the only way I felt to do that was to put myself up against who was considered the best. So competition for me started very young, which was unusual because there wasn't a lot of it. So I had to, train on my own. There wasn't a lot of people to help. So I sourced people and became friends with people all over Australia that helped me along my journey. And competing was something that once I did it once, I was just hooked because it pushes you. And every time I did a competition, I felt that I became a better hairdresser afterwards.
Okay.
And anyone that I've gotten involved with competition work, I watch them and they just take a giant leap forward every competition they do because it pushes your boundaries and it pushes your skill level. So that was mainly it for me.
And I guess too, it gives you inspiration in which you can bring back and share with your team and share with clients because, as a business owner, probably the biggest challenge often is who inspires you. You're required to inspire your team, but who inspires you? So those sorts of shows, I would imagine, just bring such a volume of, creative input.
Yes, and because we never want to do the normal.
Yeah.
We're always
really?
we're
I
always
would never have guessed that,
yeah, just a
Shane.
little bit left of centre.
It's actually quite tame at the moment,
yeah,
I think.
my look is quite tame.
Out here.
Yeah, we sort of are always looking to push the levels and not be conservative or not do what everyone else is doing. So when you involve yourself in these groups and more so for me now, getting more and more involved in the art world, and I follow a lot more artists now than I used to, not just hairdressers from all over the world. I follow a lot of artists and see what that can bring into my hairdressing.
Yeah, right.
So when I create something, it gives me an edge in the salon. So when I'm training my staff or when I'm just working on a client, my ideas are very expanded because I'm exposed to these images all the time.
Yeah, right. And so do you see hair, like when someone comes in, is that like a canvas for you? Like an artist would, look at a blank canvas. Do you see people and their hair and think, oh, I could do that with them?
Yeah,
or,
well, as you know,
exactly.
to see me, that
I think I had hair down here when I came into it.
Yeah. I really do. I see actual hair as a craft item. I see it as an art item. I stopped traditional hairdressing, a long time ago and just have worked on pushing the boundaries. What I always say is I can never do the same thing over and over because the way I do things evolves so quickly that I'm always looking at new and innovative ways. So for me, whether it be I'm working with hair or like at the moment I'm working with a lot of other, like making hair designs for my artwork out of metals and all things like that. At the end of the day, I'm creating a visual hair
working piece of art.
Yeah. And with my clients, I'm lucky that most people that come to me, they come to me because they want something different. They want a more expanded look. So I get to play every day.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Is there any standout moments with your awards and, all of those sorts of experiences you've had that truly, is your go-to place when you think about your past 30 years?
The funny thing is I have had, a chance to do some amazing things, competing overseas, traveling the world, winning some amazing awards. I have worked very hard and managed to win most sort of major awards that I aim to win at some stage or another. But for me, like if you ask me of a pinnacle moment in hairdressing, as an example, last year I did a lady's hair. Now, she was recommended to me from one of my clients, and she was a mature age lady. So what I say now is she's not 20 anymore.
Okay.
And she's a beautiful lady that had never had a fashion haircut in her life, and she had very difficult hair. So that sort of hair that expands out, very wiry. And so she'd never had anything. And this lady, she was in her 80s.
Oh, wow.
And so she said to me, I know there's not much you can do because of my hair. And I sort of said, well, what's your dream sort of a look? And, I just worked at it. And luckily I work a lot with difficult hair. A lot of my clients have either very thick hair or very, very thin hair or curly hair. And
so you're the hair whisperer.
Yes, yeah. It's about making the hair do what it wants to do so it will follow, instead of trying to fight against it. And this lady, but when I was almost finished and I'd kind of blow dried it and I was just finishing off the edges, I looked up in the mirror and she had tears rolling down her cheeks. And I was like, oh, are you okay? I thought, oh no, she doesn't like this. What have I done? Yeah. And she said to me these simple words that I will never forget. She said, I look pretty for the first time in my life. And it was like, it makes me, it was, to me, that's the pinnacle. That's is beautiful. When you get someone that for, 80-ish years, and it's not that she said she looked beautiful, that there's those words that she looked pretty. And that really,
that's
so
beautiful.
For me,
that's better than any award, isn't it?
It is.
And further on that, the amazing person that you are, so you're travelled to third world countries where you've done so Hair Aid in Manila and the Philippines.
Yes, yeah.
And actually teaching young people over there the skills of hairdressing. Yeah. So they can actually then earn an income.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, I know you've recently not long got back from a trip. So.
It's an amazing experience. when you go somewhere where, you know, they barely have basic needs, and they live in conditions that I've seen from a distance before, but to actually penetrate the slums and go inside them, it's pretty amazing.
Life-changing?
It's very life-changing.
Yeah.
You just see things that take your breath away.
Wow.
You know, just moments that take your breath away and make you feel so privileged. And so, you know, we got in there and we teach basic hairdressing skills, cutting, everything like that. And the amazing thing is these kids have had no chance at all to ever get work in their lives. Like, most people in these never get, and now we've created these, they call them the heroes, and they bring them back into the communities when we're there to give talks. And these are kids that are actually working in the hairdressing industry. And these kids keep in contact with me still today.
Wow.
They ask me advice on life, on hair, on art. Some of them are actually doing competitions. I had a girl that just placed third in a big Asian competition that I worked with when I was in the Philippines.
How fantastic.
Like, how incredible is that?
Yeah.
These are people that normally,
probably would feel like they couldn't aspire to more than what the generations before them have done. Whereas now you're giving them an opportunity to realise that I actually have self-worth, I've got skill, I can earn money, you know, and what that will do then for their children and their children.
And the flow-on effect for the whole community, because they tend to, you know, share and help each other. So the flow-on effect is incredible. It just really, you see changes, because Hair Aid's been going for quite a few years now, and you go there and you see these established communities that are moving forward due to this organisation. So it's really quite an incredible experience. And it's funny when you come back home, you realise, you know, how much I want to downsize my lifestyle, because you realise we live so decadently compared to them, and it's unnecessary. So it does change you. It changes me forever.
So true, isn't it? So these questions you're meant to think on the fly, which you'll be good at, off the top of your head. Okay. So, what is one thing you're most afraid of?
Oh, time.
Time.
I have a fear of time going too fast. That's definitely my biggest fear. I try and hold on to time as much as I can.
Excellent. Favourite drink?
Oh, dispensary. Coffee martini, definitely. Oh yeah.
What's one thing you'll never do?
Oh, never say never. I'm pretty available to do most things.
I thought it would be interesting to see what the answer to this is. I thought you'd say nothing.
There's not really anything I wouldn't try once.
Okay. Favourite costume?
Oh.
Because I know that you love getting into character, and some of the countries you've travelled to, the things you've turned up in. Yeah, I have
been known to wear some pretty bizarre costumes, or not much at all. But if I could wear a real costume, I would love to wear a real Batman costume.
Real Batman?
Seriously, the real thing.
And turn up where? Where do you reckon?
Ooh.
The Philippines?
No, I just want to be able to go, like, literally spend a day.
Daily.
I
love it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Turn up to work in it.
Let's do it.
Seriously. That could be a good photo shoot.
Yeah, I dressed up as Spider-Man once and turned up to an event. I think we should do this.
All right.
Yeah, 20
it's
years.
It's a deal.
Shake on that.
It's a deal.
Have you ever hula hooped?
Yes, I have hula hooped many a time in my youth. Oh.
Can we get a demo?
Oh, that's going to be a bit scary. Here we go.
Show us, you go first. Oh, pretty good. Oh. Okay, ready? They're not very good either.
No. Let's blame the hula hoop. I think we're going to do it at the same time. Ready? Oh, we're not very good.
All right, well, we gave it a go. That's the main thing, giving it a go. So, Shane, obviously, lots of fun, lots of activity, lots of excitement in your world. As a business owner, though, like, what's been one of your biggest challenges?
With business, I find, obviously, staffing, working with people, But that's the main reason I'm in business at the same time, because I love that challenge. I love training. I love seeing people grow. I love pushing people's boundaries. So even though that's the most difficult, it's also the main reason why I do it.
Yeah.
The actual hairdressing side of it, because I've done it so long, as much as I love that, it's not as challenging for me. So it's actually the structure and that I find challenging. That's what gives me the buzz. And pushing people,
to be the best
they can be. And that's our main focus, is seeing people grow. But it's also the most challenging thing. Yeah.
And do you find that there's, misconceptions about hairdressers and hairstylists?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of people think hairdressing, would be quite a cruisy job. And, particularly in our salons, very high paced. We're very busy. There's not a lot of downtime at all.
No, you've got it clockwork.
It is like a machine. And the thing that is, it's quite exhausting. People would be surprised what toll it takes on your body, how exhausting. And it's interesting, a friend of mine that's a hairdresser that is now working in a different industry, she was saying that everybody that she works with says, I bet you wish you could go back to hairdressing. It's so much easier than what we do. And she's saying, you have no idea. Hairdressing, you stand in a hairdresser's shoes for a day and a month and a year, you realise it's a lot harder.
Standing, isn't it? A lot of it, I mean, I know you've got your roller chairs,
yes.
A lot of standing, but...
A lot of standing, but it's the movement, the body posture, but it's also the stress of the mental side of it. I mean, when people come in with an expectation, and even though there is a lot of science to hairdressing, it's still an unpredictable science. So you have to be ready to go on the fly all the time. If that happens, how do I correct it? You're always adjusting and you're always thinking. And what my vision might be and what your vision might be can be two totally different things. So you've got to be aware of that all the time, of how to join, and meld together the ideas of the outcome. So physically and mentally, there's a lot more to it, especially when you work at high level hairdressing, where expectations are really high.
And also, I know myself, obviously, from all the years of going to hair salons and those sorts of things, and friends, that as soon as people plonk their butts in a hair salon seat, there's that level of trust and communication and pouring out their hearts. So you become psychologists. To a degree.
There's a lot
counsellors
of that emotional side, and we actually do a lot of training with our staff of how to deal with that. Because it can be quite daunting, especially for a younger person, when they have somebody pour their heart out to them and
I'm just here to do your hair.
And it's really important to know about things like suicide prevention and issues with all sorts of aspects, death. You've got to be able to deal with these things because it's a part of life, and people do tell us, and it's important to even though we don't advise people what they should do, you need to have the advice of what's available for them.
And I guess the ability to understand and empathise, and so there's a lot more than just doing someone's hairstyle, isn't it? There's so much more to it.
And that changes every minute of every day in the salon, which makes it pretty exciting.
It does. Exciting, but like you said, also busy, draining.
Yes.
So for all of our guests, we choose an object that we feel either best represents their career or their personality. We have chosen for you the clock.
The clock.
The giant clock.
Thank you.
Because you are someone that never stops, but you have this sense of energy about you, and there's so much to fit into your world and never enough time. And I think you live sometimes on 2 hours sleep a night. And still continue to function.
So probably function better.
That's scary. So our question to you is, if you could freeze time for an hour, we're only going to give you an hour.
1 hour.
What would you do with it?
Oh. Is everybody frozen?
Up to you. You're in control.
You
are the time god.
This could go in dangerous directions.
That's okay.
It's like being the invisible man for an hour, isn't it?
It is.
You know, to be honest, if I could freeze any time, and it, as much as I love my hairdressing world, if I could get an extra hour to spend with my wife and kids, that would be it. You know, like, as much as I do, I still have a huge focus on being family orientated. So, I mean, there's lots of crazy things I would do with an hour, especially if everyone else is frozen in time. But
you could get
to
that
be all honesty,
out.
Yes, I'd have that costume out.
Go and selfie pose with everybody.
Yeah, but really, my biggest fear is watching my boys grow up so fast. I mean, you have children, you know what that's like. It's like every blink they've moved ahead a little bit. So if I could steal more time to spend with them, that's definitely what I would do.
Okay,
yeah,
that's lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'd love to spend that time with you
yes.
also. So maybe that's another promise we're gonna put you to try and find that extra hour. Maybe once a week might be too much. Maybe once a month. How about we go start with once a month and we'll work back from there.
Yeah, work back from there.
Excellent.
That sounds good.
So what's on the agenda for Shane Gibbs or Hairway in the very near future?
Well, my current project is I'm doing an installation at Art Space. So it was an opportunity for me. The problem with my head, because it is so busy, there's so much ideas and so many visions that I have in my head that if I don't somehow get them out, and that's why I also do a lot of competition work or show work, is it's being able to get those visions out of your head and make them real. So I've had the opportunity at Art Space to put together a project. So I'm currently making pieces, so they're hair pieces, but I also do, with my installations, I'll be doing pretty much most of the makeup and make a lot of the clothes. And
I've had a little sneak peek at some of them, and they're quite incredible. I mean, they're like nothing that people will have seen before. So
it's very different you know, I want to bring the sort of things that I get exposed to when I travel the world, and people in more capital cities and that. I'm trying to bring some of these visions to Mackay. And my end goal with this is to be able to eventually do shows like this and get youth and local Mackay people involved, because it's a big passion of mine, is obviously in the arts, but I've always done it for hairdressers, whereas this is going to be more about doing it for the community and bringing it back to Mackay, and hopefully being able to put together shows and that where younger people in Mackay get to do things that they never thought they would be able to do, everything from stage makeup to costume designing, and building backdrops, music, putting sounds together, video production.
All sorts of things, We've got so much talent here, and you know, to be able to offer outlets like this for them to explore and be a part of is truly what our region needs. So it's fantastic that you're going down this path, and we're going to absolutely look forward to seeing the finished product. I can't wait. So all the best with that.
Thank you.
Yes, we look forward to it. But thank you so much for joining us here this morning.
Fabulous.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's been a laugh.
Yes, it's nice to be sitting, you know, parallel with you.
Yes, that's right.
As opposed to you being behind me doing something crazy with my hair.
Yeah, no, it's
But
good
thank
fun.
you, Shane, for sharing your journey with us. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Fabulous.
Thanks.